Hello, everybody. This is a read-along version of the Who Was Confucius reading. So, just like the other readings that we've done that are set up similarly to this, at the end there are questions for you to answer. So I'll go ahead and start reading. In the long history of China, there is one main school of thought that Chinese have followed for more than 2,000 years. That school of thought was established by Confucius, the most respected teacher and philosopher in China. Confucius was born during a time of chaos. At the time, the emperor of the Eastern Zhou dynasty became a mere figurehead. He did not have full control of the country. Instead, he was like a puppet domineered by hundreds of warlords. These military houses split China into smaller states and fought among themselves endlessly. The ongoing wars put the society in disarray. Moral values were low, divides between rich and poor were wide, and crime rates were high. Historians call this chaotic time the Spring and Autumn period. It was against this backdrop that Confucius formed his philosophy and set out to publicize it. Confucius believed in Ren, the highest attainable level in ethics that people must strive to achieve. The word Ren means benevolence, humanity, or kindness in Chinese. To practice Ren, Confucius encouraged his followers to love others, to honor one's parents, to adore one's siblings, and to do what is right. He had deep conversations with his students on this topic. One time, a disciple asked if there was a word a person can use as a rule of conduct. Confucius replied, reciprocity. He then explained, what you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. This seemingly simple verse underlies the core meaning of Ren. Throughout Confucius's lifetime, he was looking for an opportunity to put his theories to the test. He first tried as a civil servant, but that did not really work out. Most of the positions Confucius held were minor, low-ranking ones. Then a big break came when he was in his 50s. Confucius was promoted to the Minister of Crime in his home state, Lu. He introduced many reforms, he carried out justice fairly, and he managed to lower the crime rate. Unfortunately, that success was short-lived. Quickly, the ruler of Lu lost interest in governing. He began to spend more time playing around. Confucius tried to counsel the ruler of Lu, but his advice was ignored. Frustrated, Confucius resigned from the post and left the state of Lu. Accompanied by his disciples, Confucius traveled from one state to another to speak his philosophy. The wandering had no result. He never came across another opportunity to put his theories to the test. After being on the road for 14 years, some said 13 years, Confucius returned to his home state. He dedicated the rest of his life to teaching and editing historical texts. Confucius was a kind teacher. He taught everybody with the same enthusiasm. He selected 5 ancient Chinese literatures for his students to study. He called the collection the 5 Classics. Confucius died at the age of 72. After Confucius passed away, his students published a book recording their master's wisdom and ideology. That book became what is known as Lun Yu, or Analects. Though Confucius never got to realize his ideas in full swing during his lifetime, his philosophy became popular 200 years later. The emperor of the Western Han Dynasty canonized Confucianism as the official doctrine. Ever since then, Confucianism has become the standard of ethics. Lun Yu has become the must-read book. Many people think Confucianism is a religion. They are wrong. Confucianism is actually a set of behavioral and moral guidelines. Its ultimate goal is to make people understand, embrace, and practice Ren. Confucius is a very important figure in Chinese history. To bestow him the deepest respect, Chinese don't refer to Confucius by his birth name. Instead, they call him Kongzi or Confuci, meaning Master Kong in Chinese. The reverent title later took on a Latin form and became known as Confucius to people living outside of China. And so then you would answer the questions, and I'll read through the questions quickly, but just remember, you have to write what paragraph you found it in and what evidence supports that answer. So question 1, what period was Confucius from? The summer and winter period, the spring and autumn period, the spring and summer period, or the summer and autumn period? Number 2, true or false? China was not a unified country during the time Confucius lived. There were hundreds of warlords dividing China into smaller states. Number 3, what is Confucius's birth name? Is it Kongqi, Kongzi, Confuci, or Confucius? Which of the following is not a meaning of Ren? Kind, selfish, humanity, or benevolence? Number 5, Confucius never saw his ideology being adopted as the official doctrine during his lifetime. Is that false or true? Make sure you pay attention there. False is on top. That's the same with number 2. False is on top. Number 6 is also true or false with false on top. Confucius wrote the book Lun Yu or Analects to advocate his philosophy. Number 7, which dynasty was the first to canonize Confucianism as the official doctrine? The Tang Dynasty, the Ming Dynasty, the Eastern Han Dynasty, or the Western Han Dynasty? Number 8, what was Confucius's last political position before he left to travel around China? The Minister of Defense, the Minister of Crime, the Minister of Finance, or the Minister of Internal Affairs? Number 9, which of the following about Confucius is correct? His home state was the state of Chu. He was a great teacher. He created a religion called Confucianism, or he was born during a peaceful time. And then number 10, how many years did Confucius travel around China to advocate his school of thought? 8, 20, 14, or 15? All right, now that you have finished the reading, you should finish the questions and turn this in.